It's along. A few months ago, a strange new variation of the farlands was discovered, and that's what I'll be showing you guys in today's video. Now, I will get into the specifics of it later on in the video, but for now, I'll just show you guys what this looks like. So, right now, you can see that something is a bit off with the terrain around here, and that's actually the beginnings of what is to come. If we head off in this direction, you will see a huge array of floating artifacts. What you're seeing now is the first iteration of the shard farlands. And I am currently 392,240 blocks out, which is about 67,108,864, or 2 to the 26 low and high noise units. There's a siren over there. So the terrain in between the floating blocks is still rather normal, although it does even if it does resemble the effects of very high coordinate scale values to some extent. But there are quite a few floating islands around here, and you actually go all the way up to the height limit. So yeah. So let's now head to 186,000, 186,000. So, and in a moment, you guys will see the corner variation of the shard farlands. There are some floating artifacts on the sides, and I'm guessing this is because the z-axis is now losing precision as well, and its value is losing precision as well, in addition to the x-axis. Whereas before, it was just at the beginning of the video, it was just the x-axis. So again, on one side, the terrain is still rather normal, although there are quite a few floating islands sorts. But in the middle here, the corner shard farlands, we find terrain that is very much like the regular farlands, but much more chaotic. And I am actually using a jar mod that changes all the double precision floating point numbers in terrain generation to single precision. That is changes all doubles to floats. So what happens here is that the integer part of the noise coordinate is still going even after the floating point part gets stuck. This causes the remainder to escape from normal bounds. Just like with the regular farlands, only the terrain is more chaotic because the integer part of the noise coordinate is actually changing, unlike in the regular farlands, where it gets stuck at the 2.147 billion limit. This is pretty cool. I might actually build something, I might actually build a region similar to this in my creative map. But now if we head to 700E 4,400, 101, you will see that the first iteration of the shard farlands come to an end, and giving way to the second iteration, which actually looks much more reminiscent of the regular farlands. And of course, the beginning is much smoother than the original farlands, as it actually transitions from normal terrain in a way. And by the way, I actually have a feeling that if the Xbox and Windows 10 versions use 64-bit floating point numbers for interpolation instead of 32-bit, their farlands would actually look something like this, because those platforms probably handle the overflow by wrapping around instead of clumping. So instead of getting stuck, the integer part would actually still be changing, just like it is here, just like here. But the reason why they actually don't generate is because the remainder jumps up to the 32 right away. So yeah. And if I now head to 1,568,800, 255, 1, you will see the second iteration of the shard farlands end, and the third iteration begin. And the third iteration is actually even more similar to the regular farlands, but again is much more chaotic because the integer part of the noise coordinate is still changing. So the major question that I have is how Bedrock Edition avoids this phenomenon, even though it uses floats for just about everything, whereas Java uses more doubles. Like in the Bedrock Edition, we don't see any anomalous terrain-related effects similar to this as a result of floating point precision loss. Instead, we just see normal terrain right up until the farlands at 12,550,821 Bedrock Edition. And this is pretty laggy because of all the water springs and stuff they're generating. And let's now head to 392,200, 255, 392,200. And this is new territory, so it's going to lag quite a bit. Yeah, the map is actually loading in very slowly, but here you'll see there are but when this loads in, you will see 4 quadrants to this. One will be a combination of the regular corner shard farlands, which you saw earlier in the video, and the other quadrant in front of us will be the second iteration of the corner shard farlands. But on the sides, you'll actually see a mishmash of the first and second iterations, which is sort of similar to the farther lands. Yeah. Again, we are generating new chunks, so this is pretty laggy. But when this loads up, you're going to see something pretty interesting. It will look pretty interesting. And this wall here actually resembles the Edge Farlands' initial wall. But anyway, and the download link for the mod that I'm using is in the description down below. So if you want to check this out for yourself, and yeah. So that's pretty much it, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and click the bell and click on all for all notifications. And goodbye.